Start the pod.
All right, you guys. I don't have anything prepared, but we're at 2022-2023 Lakers Therapy podcast. We're kicking this off. Pod number one. We got a pretty packed agenda. We got our crew here. It's David, Rahi, Roddy, and myself. Eddie will have to join another day. We could kick it off with just getting into the first item in the agenda. Thoughts on Darvin Ham. Who wants to kick this off?
All right, I'll go. I have no reason to doubt him yet. Everyone, every player, coach, GM, they've all said the best things about him. Like, he's a stand-up guy. He's a tough guy. He's not the type of coach you're gonna disrespect because he'll get in your face. And he has a good scheme. He has the respect of guys like Giannis. And if he has the respect of guys like Giannis, then LeBron and AD should follow through also. So there's no reason to not trust him yet. I still think Frank Vogel was screwed because he had a championship team in 2020 that played the way he wanted them to play. And then all those players were gone and then brought in a bunch of entitled people that did not play the way he wanted to play. It was a horrible season and he suffered for it. So even though Frank got screwed, Darvin deserves a chance, and there's no reason to think he can't right now.
I mean, I don't know too much about Darvin Ham's like basketball strategy or his specific system. I get the vibe where he's like the tough inner city high school teacher coming in to like get the kids in line. Yeah, like I'll shot in the face. You kids better listen to me. Like that's the vibe, and I think that'll resonate with them just because Vogel seems like he couldn't relate to the guys in just not being in the league before, and he seems like a more X's and O's type of guy instead of like coaching the person. And that seems like the kind of vibe I get from Darvin Ham. So that might resonate with the team more.
I think I could say that out of the the five of us, really, I'm the one that knows the least technical stuff. I'm just going to put it out there and bottom of the totem pole, but that's okay. You need somebody on the lower end of this. And I don't know anything about Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham. I think we all agree.
Darvin Ham.
Darvin Ham. Right?
Darvin Ham.
It's already kicking in. This take since he got hired, and I think he's just another puppet coach that the Lakers have hired to LeBron's bidding.
Is that your hot take? Is that what you were waiting for?
I've been waiting for a week now. If we look at the history of the coaches that have come and gone, I feel like we speak highly of them early on. We bring D'Antoni and Mike, all going back to Mike Brown. We think highly of them, and then we just trash them when we don't need them anymore. And considering LeBron's history in particular, he just uses and abuses coaches, which is sucks to say, but I want Darvin Ham to succeed, and I really hope that his robust approach to whatever basketball system he has is gonna resonate with LeBron and everybody else. I just hope that he's actually, and take us to the promised land again. Because I thought Frank Vogel got the short end of the stick too.
Well, 2 points. Using and abusing people coming into the LA team is the Lakers culture, right? Like, it doesn't matter like if it's a coach, assistant coach, presidents of basketball, players, like that's what we do. Like they come in and we beat them down until they get us a championship, or we fire them, like, or both.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there are teams that put up banners for winning their division.
Yeah.
We are not that type of team. So championship or bust, but not just championship or bust. If you play your ass off, if you show that you care, and you don't win a championship, okay, we can still respect you. But if you go 0 for 10, 8 turnovers, and then you don't give a damn if you win a championship or not in your career, you're gonna hear from us.
The second point, right? With it doesn't matter what coach comes in, because whatever that coaching strategy will not survive what LeBron, like how they need to fit it to LeBron.
Hypothetical. What if Darvin Ham goes 0 for 8?
Is it a
I'm
really
good.
ugly 0 for 8? Like no
Because
heart
if we
like
look at the
last season?
roster, yeah, we're kind of doing a repeat of last year, just with different bodies. Well, yeah. What's going to be our reaction, right? What's going to be the LA reaction? Are we
LA
are we
reaction is going to be
understanding for a little
no.
bit?
You know what the LA reaction is because we haven't had a good
LA reaction.
we haven't had a good start in like how many years? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if it's such a situation, it's not just Ham on the line, it's Pelinka's ass on the line.
There's gonna be so many good puns this year with his name being Ham.
With the Ham,
He went
Darvin
ham.
Ham. I kind of think what Roddy's saying is interesting because I feel like there's definitely a pessimistic take, and I thought about that as well. Like, okay, this could go wrong, and it could be just a puppet kind of person in charge. But there's some things that made me really think that maybe the tides are turning a little bit, and things are changing. It's not a well-known name, which I think was kind of an interesting point because it wasn't like a Doc Rivers, a Ty Lue,
Mike Brown.
someone that we already know. Mike Brown was out there. You know, he was one of the options that we could have looked into. So I think having someone that maybe is an assistant coach who was from a title team, he helped Giannis in that team. He wasn't the head coach, but he was involved in that team and he got to help, I guess, steer that ship a little bit. I'm sure he worked with Giannis pretty closely also. All those things are going to help us, maybe hopefully help AD.
Say if he has a clean slate, he hasn't had a head coaching opportunity, but he's been close a couple times. Then he has a clean slate, then people will respect him until he has they have a reason not to. If it was a retread like Terry Stotts or Doc Rivers, we already know who they are.
Yeah. And he's well respected. Yeah, and this Darvin Ham is well respected, well liked. He's able to get people under his wing. He was able to get a good assistant coach, get some good assistant coaches to be on there, people that other teams liked.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really like is that the fact that they're going young and not going for the big name players, the win now players. That is also interesting to me, and the fact that he has influence on our roster construction is a big one. Oh, and the last one, he has a long-term deal
for now. Now let me ask this question about Darvin Ham. There's been that picture out there, when he was a player, I think with the Pistons, and LeBron was the Cavs, right? They were going up against each other. Considering LeBron, get into the psychology of it all and how the chemistry and the meshness of it all. Plus, there was rumblings that LeBron didn't want Darvin Ham as the coach. He wasn't vying for him, right? He kind of went away from him a little bit. Knowing that LeBron played with this guy, right, and obviously dominated him like any other person he's played with, I think he's going to respect him as a coach. Do you think LeBron's just going to impose his will like he has with every other coach?
I think he will because he respects Ty Lue a lot. And Ty Lue wasn't much of a player. He was our third point guard. And he didn't have a super long career, but Ham was also a role player just like him. So,
think about it this way. When LeBron's on the court, he's the offensive coach. For everything else, or the coach is going to run the defense, So we get these defensive-minded coaches to fill in the other side of the court, So that's why they need to be married in that way.
I think one thing that I think I've heard about Darvin Ham is that he likes to get in the scuffle with the guys. He'll be on the court working out with them. It won't just be like, hey, you assistant, you do, you work on with the bigs, you work with the guards, and then I'll sit back and watch the film and strategize. It seems like he's a guy that's going to be down there working with them, and I think there's a level of respect that hopefully he can earn from that. So maybe it's it sounds like Frank Vogel just didn't have that with this group. We'll see if Darvin Ham could start strong, but I hope that this works in our favor because I think I kind of am getting this vibe that maybe Pelinka and Genie are trying to see hey, who is our pick, not who is LeBron's pick. Yeah. They will have influence on the roster because that's who LeBron's playing with. but maybe the coach is something that they can at least say, like, this is our guy, and he's going to stick around,
Yeah.
maybe longer than you will. I don't know.
I think last year LeBron had like total input. Let's just say he had input on everybody, right?
Right.
So this year we're thinking like, oh, he has less input this year, but look at how many clutch clients we have. So does he still have a lot of input? Like, is this just
even
us?
JTA is a clutch client.
Yeah, are we just like imparting this narrative into like, oh, he's backed off? But I'm like, did he really back off, or did he just change his own strategy?
No. I'm optimistic. I mean, we're not going to know until things go south. Like if we do lose 10 in a row, or if we are having a losing record going into the winter break, or not winter break, the All-Star break, then that's going to be red rubber hits the road and see if things are going to change. But I don't think the coach position is going to be in danger.
Ham's going to be here for the year. Like it has to be really, really egregious for us to even think about firing him. Next topic.
Lakers roster additions and subtractions. So I guess this is the full squad, right? Except I think we have one open roster spot. I think is what you're saying, Rocky. Yeah. Any initial thoughts on how this roster is coming together?
I like it.
Yeah, I'm happy as of now. We wanted younger. We wanted some shooters, some swing guys. We wanted young centers that play defense and can stretch the floor. And we got two guys that we already had before. Shouldn't have let go in the first place.
You're talking about Thomas Bryant, right?
Thomas Bryant, and we had
Damian Jones.
Yeah, I think he was a 10-day contract guy, and they just didn't sign him.
Because we went with what's his face, Drummond.
JaVale. You know, I think it actually wasn't Drummond. I think it was actually Tyson Chandler.
Was Tyson Chandler?
That's right.
I think. I think Drummond. It was Drummond that was competing with Gasol, and I think that was the year that we had those two.
I do want to give a shout out to Mexican on the squad, Juan Toscano Anderson, walking him to the club.
Yeah.
Did you see his? Did you watch his interview?
Yes,
I did not actually.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was really good. He said a lot of great things, but he pretty much like he seems extremely down to earth. Like he understands he's a role glue culture guy, and he just spoke a lot about like coming into work every day, being extremely consistent, and setting the culture.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I don't want anyone taking my job.
I mean, I was a little worried because he just got a ring. So I was worried about like is he the hungry wing that we need?
Well, he's young and he just got a vet minimum contract. So that's something.
And he's from East Oakland.
Yes, he brought.
This fool's ready. This fool's ready to rumble.
Mike Trudell.
Yeah.
And he's on the older end. He's 29, so he's still he's still got something to prove if you want to get paid in 2 years or whatnot.
Oh, just one last thing on JTA. I feel like he's gonna be like a locker room. He's gonna be like a fan favorite. I feel like he's gonna bring energy. He's gonna make some splashy dunks, and I miss those types of guys. We haven't had a lot of those athletic guys on our team over the last couple of years. Been a lot of oldies.
Yeah. So I think Malik Monk was such a bright spot last year because he was just young and he had boosties and he just played hard.
I really like Malik Monk, but I feel like we have a lot of guards on this team.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guards.
We have Russ.
We have LeBron.
Johnny Walker.
LeBron.
LeBron is the point. He's the
point.
A big guard. Yeah. He's the point.
Reeves.
Are we calling THT a guard or is he a 3?
He's a guard.
He's a guard.
He's got some small forward thickness.
On this team, he's kind of a guard because the AD doesn't want to play the center.
Yeah.
LeBron he's going to fit that shooting or a small forward role, and then there'll be 2 guard spots, and then whoever takes the center spot.
Yeah, I mean we have a lot. I mean we're trying to get rid of 2 or 3 right now in the Kyrie trade. But
yeah, Scottie Pippen Jr. 2-way, looking nice.
What is Cole?
Cole is
small too.
Dude,
Cole has a really nice shot. Like I just saw a little bit of summer league. That thing, I think he's better than Max Christie.
He He
Right
he
now.
just came out and straight up said like I'm the best shooter in the draft. Like hands down, like no one can shoot better than me in this
Yeah.
draft. And like the way he puts it up, I believe him.
With Cole, I feel like I don't want to get into a Kuzma situation where we hyped him up so much and then he never lived up to that summer league team. But
But like
at least on this team, I still love Kuzma. We hyped him up too much.
we
Hype
yeah
all players too much.
we hype up every player.
We love our guys.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I still like Lonzo, still like Ingram. Just
We want everybody to succeed.
Kuzma outperformed anything you would have predicted for him, right? Like
Or like
He-
a 27th or whatever.
yeah,
pick of the
like he
draft.
was so late in the draft. Like we hit
I
a
think
home run with him.
I think he got a lot of unfair criticism. I mean, people made fun of him because of like how he dresses and stuff like that. But on the court, I think he played okay. And when all of a sudden he's playing next to AD and LeBron, then there's a big difference in your game.
It's magnified, you know. Like it's a lot of growing pains when you grow up on LA team. It's everyone sees every fuck up you have.
I was watching some Thomas Bryant highlights yesterday. preparing for
LA or
this.
Wizards?
Wizards, and then I saw Kuzma a lot, and then those highlights, and I was like, damn, just seeing him on a different team, I was like, god damn it, I felt all nostalgic.
It's
But
Thanks,
at the
bro.
same time,
it's like you're looking at an
I-
X
I
on
do.
Instagram. Like
I do like an X. I'm like, damn, that
damn
must be nice.
Kuzma.
But I like that he's getting his own time to shine. Like, I mean, if he makes it, it's on his own, terms. So here he was blocked, kind of log jam at his position anyway. So
Yeah.
one person that I'm gonna miss a little bit, just maybe personal, Carmelo. I really liked having Carmelo on the squad last year. He did nothing on defense, but just seeing him
entire
shoot those
career.
threes and do his thing, like that was still fun to watch. I'm glad we got to see Carmelo in a Laker uniform
Yeah.
during his.
Can we stop right there? I feel like every Hall of Famer towards the end of their career has to say, "I wore the yellow and purple," and then they'll be on their merry way.
Yeah.
What
But
is that? Why?
I also don't want the Lakers to be a place where old stars go to die.
We've just become American soccer. That's just what it is.
Like, yeah,
The
it's not the
MLS.
MLS, not the Galaxy.
the Lakers of the MLS of the NBA.
MEFC? What is it?
LA people love the star power. We love the name. So once
But-
we hear a big name, the GM's just gonna snatch him up.
Let's lean into that then. Do you think getting Kyrie is going to be a thing in this upcoming season because of the name power of how publicly they talked about? Hey man, I
Go.
mean, like
Let's
that
go.
is
Here's my answer to that is we can't just let them decide. We got to be able to make the right decisions and make the right calls. We have leverage with like living in LA, players wanting to come here and play here. I think we need to lean on that more instead of bending over backwards to be like, we need a star, we need to come out here. Like, no, I think that should be like the other way around. And are you good enough to come and play for the Lakers?
To that point,
Yeah.
I think Pelinka did a good job with the guys that grabbed. They're not household names. They're glue culture guys. They're like straight role players, which we didn't have. We had role players in the bubble year, but I think we did a really good job on pick and roll guys. Now we just need to have the third punch so that AD and Bron can have a break in the third and fourth quarter.
I do want to talk about Kyrie, but the roster right now is like a bunch of dudes, and then LeBron and AD. Like, there's not if LeBron and AD are injured or just taking the night off or on the bench and they're taking a breather, I wouldn't want to trust Russ with any of these guys.
No.
I would be really nervous about that. I forget Wenyen Gabriel is a person. I need to go look at his highlights. Honestly, everyone I remember, like, oh yeah, there's a guy named Wenyen Gabriel. I've got to look up his stuff.
He's a wing, right?
He's like an athletic four.
Like, there's some guys on here that I think could be okay. I'm hoping for the best for Kendrick Nunn to
Yeah.
come in here and ball and score, because he was doing that well in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Lonnie Walker. I have very low expectations for this guy. I wasn't really happy with that signing, but it could be big upside if it works.
I think it's
But
whiskey.
everyone else, I'm not sure about. Lonnie Walker Blue.
Yeah.
So I think if we were to get a Kyrie, that solves a lot of problems, a lot of headaches probably come with it. But we'll see what Palinka can pull off.
Like right now
agree.
we have basketball related headaches, right? Like
Yeah.
when Russ is out there, we're like, oh, he can't do this. Like he can't pass the ball, he can't shoot the ball. His turnovers are insane. Like those are really bad headaches, right? The headaches that we get with Kyrie are like maybe he doesn't play in like a portion of the season, but that's not as bad when he's on the court. He's a killer.
I mean, I saw someone saying I'd rather have 40 games of Kyrie than 82 of Westbrook. And I thought about that, and I was like, I agree. Because after every game he had a bad game, he was like, you know what I've done in my career? I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm all this. I'm like, okay, tonight you were 0 for 12. I know you were great in OKC. OKC, you were real nice. But tonight you were 0 for 12. Let's talk about that. And you have a guy making $47 million a year. Thinking like that, you need accountability for some reason. I'm not sure Kyrie is that.
John Wall made $40 million plus, not doing anything. Let Russ rest on his laurels.
I mean, at least Westbrook is available like every game, but like, I mean, he played like it's at Venice Beach.
If Luol Deng can make millions of dollars, all right, years after retiring, Russ can make $40 million.
That reminds me of Steve Nash too, right?
Oh.
Like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You got nothing from that. He got hurt in his very first game.
Let's just give him people money. Hey, come and just leave.
Man.
Do you think Kyrie will, like, LeBron's the only one that can be the Kyrie whisperer at this point in his career, and that's why I think we should be optimistic.
I don't think Kyrie's as hard to coach. I think he has a lot of personal off the court issues or things that he deals with, but on the court, I don't know if that's going to be the issue.
I'm gonna have another Kyrie take right here. I think Kyrie doesn't have any issues. I think he's trying to do what Brett Favre tried to do with the Packers towards the end of his career. He doesn't want to play until he has to play, right? He's gonna rest most of the season, and then when the playoffs start, he'll try to come in. And obviously, it didn't work out in the Nets. But if he were to do that with the Lakers, I think he would be okay. He'd be like, all right, yeah, come on in, take us to the promised land with the other two guys.
Follow along with that timeline, right? With that scenario, like, oh, he's just gonna like not play most of the season, right, and come in towards the end. Like that's when AD and Bron are banged up, so like that would still work out for us, right? So like that's if that's the worst case scenario, like he just fucks around until playoffs. Playoffs is when we would need him.
We gotta make the damn playoffs.
Easier. We got the playing tournament. We could beat the Kings.
We didn't do it last year.
That means we're gonna have a lot of losing during the season.
This season, people are gonna be healthier.
Yeah. Is Jamal Murray back? I feel like Jamal Murray's been injured for his whole career or something.
I think he's back. He and Porter.
Yep.
All right. Can you guys come up with a 5-man roster without the trade? Like who would be on your roster with these guys? No,
starting
without
5?
Kyrie.
You have to put Russ in.
There's
I'm sorry.
2 at least.
I'm sorry. You have to put Russ in. He's if even if you like entertain the idea of putting him on the bench, he's gonna suck so bad on the bench, and he's gonna be like awful energy coming off the bench. It's better just to have him out there and have Bron like baby him along. Russ, AD, Bron. Okay, so maybe Lonnie Walker, and then Thomas Bryant, and then JTA will be that like good energy off the bench.
Thinking, 5 Thomas Bryant, 4 AD, 3 Braun. 2, I'm gonna go as a starter. I'm gonna go with Reeves
Ooh.
because he's gonna be smart on offense. He's gonna play hard on defense, and that's what Ham will appreciate. Lonnie off the bench. He could be the same minutes or even more minutes than Reeves, but I want Reeves to be the starter. And what you bring up about Westbrook not being a starter, I think is very valid. I think he could be very toxic on the bench. So I'd rather have none be the starter, but because of that potential toxicity of the team, I'll just put him at starter.
I think I agree with you, David, but I feel like the starting roster and then the closing roster is going to be interesting to see, like who ends up closing. I feel like if THT is not starting, they won't need to trade him. I kind of think like THT, we've had a few years with him. If he's not ready to start, I think we could think about trading him and see who can come in and start.
So who's your 5?
But I do like it would be LeBron, AD, Russ, THT, and Thomas Bryant. I think Thomas Bryant solves a lot of problems. He's my favorite signing that we've had so far, and he came in yesterday.
A big problem is AD doesn't want to play the 5.
If his work with Mr. Lethal Shooter is going well this summer, then I think he'll be similar to what we had in 2020 if he can put in the work.
Lethal Shooter makes like all of his clients look like they're the best players in the world at any given time. Like AD, if we can get Bubble AD back, I would love that. But that was an asterisk year because no one was traveling. Everyone got a good night's sleep.
Beg to differ. We beg to differ. That was a real championship.
It was a real championship.
That was a real championship.
It was a real championship, but like AD got like how many months of rest? To like rest his knees. That matters. I mean, everyone else got the rest too. It's not like it was unfair to other teams. It was fair, but the results of that year would be different if it was a regularly played season.
What do we feel about AD saying like a week or 2 weeks ago that he hasn't like picked up a basketball since April?
That was tough, man.
What's up with that?
I can't believe he said that.
Like I know they all go through like a schedule where they don't play ball, they let their body rest, and then they get in the gym for strength training, and then they go to the court eventually. But I was like, our season ended like 3 months ago. 3 months he didn't shoot a hoop?
I would like to know if LeBron, Giannis, some of these other guys are doing that same situation because I feel like they come in and they're ready to go. They come in preseason and they're already hot. Like
I feel like those guys, they take a couple weeks off.
I remember Rondo said something a long time ago. Rondo said that the older you get, the less of an off season you get because you have to stay in shape. Because it'll take longer to get back in shape for older guys. So I think AD's probably like in that gray zone where he's like, oh, I think I can just still be young and like, oh, I'll just catch up. Training all the way
like
through.
Shaq towards the end of the other side of the hill. Oh, I'll come back. And that worries me because like, how serious are we taking? How serious are we talking? How serious are we about being on the Lakers team? And mind you, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, he 10 player to the franchise forever going forward. And he took no days off, right? Like he was out in the gym, and that mentality, the Mamba mentality, it feels kind of lost on these teams. It's like, well, that's not the Laker way. We know it. So for that to leak out and for AD to say that, I'm just like, man, all we need for you to say that, for us to have a sluggish start, and then you get injured again, and then it's like, then we're back here talking about should we trade him by the All-Star game?
Well, what was the actual quote?
Like in the video, the guy asked him, when was the last time you played? And he goes like, I haven't shot a ball since whatever the last game was.
Oh man.
And it was like June 20th.
Like
or
indefensible,
something.
man.
Yeah, that's a long.
That's bad.
I mean, you saw what KG said about him. Okay, he had several things to say. There's no reason why Anthony Davis can't be an MVP candidate. I'm paraphrasing. He said, you get in the lab, you work hard, you work your ass off, because there's no reason you're not a top 5 player in this game. And then you saying you don't touch a rock 2 months or 3 months? What is that? No, you need to get in the lab.
Like
you need to take it seriously. He goes, I'm your OG. I'm telling you this.
I hate to agree with Yeah, I hate to agree with Kevin Garnett, but yeah.
Yeah, he also mentioned Celtic fans will hate me for this, but yeah, AD, you need to get in the lab. You need to get your body right. You need to bust your ass because you should be an MVP candidate.
I think if we get Kyrie and someone who can actually do pick and roll with, that's gonna put him in that conversation. I think if we stick with Russ when there's no spacing and there people are daring
Clogs the
him to
paint.
shoot the ball, yeah, it clogs the paint. Then it's gonna be tough.
Why do the Lakers get getting cursed with players who get dared to shoot the three? Is
I feel like I feel like we got a lot of guys that have upside, and I'm worried about that again. I'm just trying to stay optimistic here, but
The
that keeps
optimistic
happening every
GM.
year.
Oh, I love it.
It keeps happening every year where we get a bunch of guys who they were great last year. They can shoot like 40% from the three, and then they come here and they suck. I think it's a culture thing, and I hope that maybe Darvin Ham can like tackle that early. I think Darvin Ham's system is about. I'm trying to think. I was thinking about it, right. I think it's like a 4 out, one in 4 out, where it's
Yeah,
gonna be
something
like
like that.
someone kind of like how Giannis takes it. He'll drive it all the way up the court, and then there'll be open guys all around him to take a shot if no one comes to stop him. I think that's what we're hoping for. If people can shoot.
You guys ever watch AD play and when he goes up for the ball, like afraid that he's gonna get hurt? He does get hurt,
He
and then
falls
he's
every
like,
time.
"Damn it!"
Yeah. Because I mean, the last injury he had? He caught the ball high up in the air and he did like a 360 in the air and he came down on his ankle. Like, you didn't even need to do that. Go up and come down.
Yeah, I think in his head he's a lot more acrobatic than his body lets him be.
Yes.
You know, like in his head
Yeah.
he's like a guard, but his body, he's fucking he's AD.
And
Well,
he
he had-
was a
he
guard
had that-
until he was 16,
I know,
17.
I know. I think that like
Yeah,
that
exactly.
in some ways it really helps him because like he does things that bigs won't even think about trying to do, but that also hurts him because that's how he gets hurt.
And he gets a lot of fucking turnovers because he's 7 feet tall, dribbling the ball. There's so many guys that can just come in and snatch it. Like sometimes he's like doing that in traffic, and I'm like, dude, stop trying to do that. Like you're not 6'5".
The ball's
yeah.
bouncing 6 feet high.
Yeah, Jesus, I can grab it.
Oh, hey, by the way,
I just
Eric Bledsoe is a free agent now. We have an open spot and we could use another PG if we don't get Kyrie.
I do like that.
How old is Bledsoe?
I don't know. I think he's early 30s or something.
If he's
32.
healthy, yeah, if he's healthy, I'm down because we don't have a lot. We have a now young roster. We might want to get a couple vets or one vet. I kind of think here's my worry with this roster is that who's gonna stop Jokic and who's gonna stop that dude from the Suns, that big guy.
First of all, we won't get anyone that can stop either of them. There's no one that we can get that can stop them. So that's a too high of a standard.
Healthy AD did okay against Jokic in that Western Conference final.
And Dwight did okay by pissing him off and like fouling him
Yes,
constantly.
That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
That's a good,
Because he has a
point.
short
'Cause Dwight was
fuse.
the one that bodied him up most of
Yeah.
that
That's a good
series,
point.
and then in the clutch moments, like in the last few minutes, the closing, it would be AD on him. But yeah, we have no big guys. I don't think Damian Jones is very, very, very big, or Thomas Bryant, or they're gonna get bodied around.
Yeah, but that's what it comes down to, the weakness of having AD at the 4, right? Because we have to get fives that can shoot, so they're not true fives. They're not big shot blockers or big bodies.
Maybe if we got Miles Turner someday, I don't know.
Best or worst moves around the league. I think the best one to me is Gobert. I'm interested to see how that works out. Gobert and Cat
Yeah.
D'Angelo and Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards of Hustle fame.
Dude,
He was solid in that.
I heard it was good. Should I watch that?
It was really good. I saw it twice.
Watch it. You should watch it.
Gotta
Okay.
watch
You're
it.
gonna
Ed
want
told me to watch it.
Juancho Hernan Gomez on the Lakers after.
I
watch
know
this.
he's a free agent right now.
Yeah, I want him.
He just got waived. But that's going to be an interesting squad. I think that's an interesting move. Rudy Gobert on the Timberwolves with Cat I'm also interested in seeing Brogdon on the Celtics, which I guess is not confirmed because it's not on this list.
Yeah. Apparently, the Jazz and the Spurs are tanking for this French kid that's going to go number 1 in the draft next year.
He's supposed
He's
to.
like 7'3", moves like KD.
He's supposed to be like the next Luca.
Enough to make the San Antonio Spurs tank. Popovich is dealing with a tank.
You know,
For
Pop.
him, yes.
You know, Pop is grinding his teeth down to the gums, like tanking.
Yeah, it's killing him.
Why am I doing this?
I'm not sure who else. I think John Wall went to the Clippers. That was also not on here. I'm not sure why.
That was the dumb. That was a dumb move by them. I think
That's an expensive gamble.
that is really expensive. I think that was. I think they took a page out of the Lakers handbook, but the wrong page.
But this is so fuck up.
I mean, it's Clippers gonna clip, but
Yeah.
like it's just. I think it's a dumb move. I mean, Jerry West is still in charge over there, so I just like I don't know why he would make like that type of move.
I don't see a lot of upside with John Wall going
Right.
there. The most upside he could bring is just a veteran body.
When's the last time he played? Like 2008? Been out for a while.
Did he play? Did he play last year?
I think a couple games here and there, but really over the last 3
He's not out all
years, he's
season.
barely played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of glad we didn't trade for him, right? That's what the Rockets wanted. Russ and a first round pick.
I'm so
Yeah.
I'm
You know-
so glad that we held out.
You know what? You know
What
what?
is this?
You know what? It would be really funny if Pelinka like just set that seed out there because he knew the Clippers were going to take a move again because they always try to steal our moves. So what is it? Oh, we're thinking about John Wall. It's like, oh, you are you? Well, maybe we'll get him first. Like, oh, well, shucks.
Dang, you beat us to it, Clipper Nation.
For worst move,
The worst
I'm
move.
actually going to go with maybe one of the best players that was available, and that's the Bradley Beal contract.
Oh
Like,
man.
I really like him as a player, but he's really signed up. Okay, 5 years, 251 million, and they're not going to win anything.
That's why.
251
reasons.
And
He's-
apparently he has
151
a
million reasons.
he has a 15% trade kicker. So if he gets traded, add another 40 million to that.
He's just going for the money.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
I
I'm kind of
respect
okay
it,
with
Rocky.
things. I know,
Respect it.
take your
You stay
money.
with one team. Yeah, take the money. Stay with one team. Live and die. This reminds me of the '90s of all the players that Michael Jordan didn't allow to win.
Yeah,
But-
man.
But you know why
Patrick
players don't do
Ewing.
that anymore? Players don't do that anymore because all of those players that are retired without championships are mentoring all these young guys and telling these young guys like, don't do what we did. Go get a ring.
Yeah. Look, I'm all for
Charles Barkley.
everyone getting paid. But
Yeah.
another 5 years of not one meaningful game. Just whatever regular season game they got going out there. Another 5 years. He's
Okay.
so good. He's a 30 points per game guy.
Once his 5-year contract is up, he'll come to the Lakers and he'll try to win a championship with us.
Future Laker
It'll
right
work
there.
out.
Future Laker.
What if moves that could have happened that would have been cool?
KD going back to the Warriors, I think that would be a pretty cool move. I mean, it wouldn't be good. I wouldn't like it, but it would be like a really good story.
Is seeing KD go back there with his tail between his legs interest you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does. But
But at the same time, that also reminds me that, and Kyrie really screwed him. Kyrie has left Cleveland on a bad note, Boston on a bad note, and now Brooklyn on a bad note.
no, he screwed himself.
Nah,
He picked the whole staff. He picked the helped pick the coaches, Harden and Kyrie. Like Kyrie was Kyrie before he went to the Nets. He knew what he was getting. Now, like we know what we're gonna get if we get Kyrie on our team.
I don't know. How much money did he give up just for the anti-vax stuff?
A lot.
Like $18
Lot of
million?
Do you remember when KD when him and Westbrook lost against the Warriors, Game 6 and Game 7, and you just tell KD was demoralized that he just couldn't win with Westbrook. He's all like, "I can't win with you. I've tried for 9 years. It ain't gonna work out. I am leaving." And he obviously went to the Warriors, and it's just like one thing that's going to hinder KD's greatness is his inability to not be mentally tough, to not take the criticism. He should have stayed with the Warriors. He should have never left. Kind of like that whole notion of like, got it good. Why leave? The grass isn't always green on the other side. It's greener where you water it. And now he got shown up. The Warriors won before him. They won after him. If he goes back to the Warriors, it'll humble him. He'll be humbled. He'll go back. They'll win more championships, unfortunately.
I would have liked to see Beal go somewhere. Like a sign and trade would have been dope. I would have liked to see Dame move somewhere meaningful. All these guys, I mean, back to the last point, they should be doing something important. Yeah.
I feel like Dame is my big what if. I would have loved to see him somewhere. Dame, I feel like he would be great with LA if we could make that happen. That's not even just bias. I think LA would love him because he's like that Kobe mentality, Mamba mentality.
Who would you
I feel
trade
like
for him?
Golden State.
Everybody.
I would trade. I literally would prefer him over like LeBron and AD. What? Like I love Dame. He's a guy that's gonna like not talk shit, just kind of play and try his hardest to win. That's why that city loves him. And if he were to go to anywhere else, I think that they would also treat him like that too. Like if he went to Indiana and be like, "Man, you're our best player ever."
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the worst trade is the one Paul said was the best trade, and that's the Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves. Man coughs on another man and gives him COVID. That man is a toxicity to the locker room.
Thanks, Roddy, for all the hot takes.
But
Hey man, I love my Frenchman, but sometimes as you can tell, dumbass shit like cough on people, and Rudy Gobert will not be a good culture fit with the Timberwolves. If anything,
but the Wolves also, if it doesn't work out, they can make trade. Like they have guys that like D'Lo and Anthony Edwards that if they needed to, they could.
I wouldn't be surprised if they traded D'Angelo.
I also heard a scenario floated that the Timberwolves could actually trade for KD.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, like
Brooklyn already turned them down. They're like,
we're
not giving up Towns or Edwards, and then Brooklyn, nothing you can give us.
I would. I would give up Towns. I would give up Edwards. Maybe not both, but I would package like some of that group with one of those guys and get KD like that. That might be the team you need.
D'Lo and Towns and some guys for KD, and then you have Anthony Edwards, KD, and Rudy Gobert.
It's pretty nice, and you get some decent role players. That's a good team. But I think KD is going to the Suns eventually.
No, they asked for Booker. Suns are not gonna trade Booker.
I don't know what. If he doesn't go there, I don't know where he's going. I don't think he's going to Miami.
No, he's not gonna go to any of the teams that he wants. Like
enjoy New Orleans then, KD.
What who New Orleans give? Ingram, right?
Ingram picks and
Zion.
I mean, you give up.
I wouldn't even trade Ingram for KD.
I mean, what's Ingram's ceiling? KD, right?
Just under KD.
Yeah, but I don't think that you could. They'd probably want Ingram and more, and I don't think that KD is going to make that team a championship team. It's still pretty young. That's a young ass team. We already talked about. Oh wait, expectations for this season and next. We can't be as bad as we were last year. Did we?
No, hell no.
I don't know. Every time I think we've hit a new low, and we can't possibly get any lower, and surprised.
I say if the Kyrie trade happens and we also get either Curry or Joe Harris, I would think our best case scenario is 4th seed, and maybe best case getting to the Western Conference Finals or just second round. Worst case, we're 8th.
I think if we make the trade, I think it could be championship, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
With someone like Kyrie to make those crazy shots, acrobatic shots. We haven't had someone like that in a while. I think he could put us over the edge. If we don't, if with him, I think ceiling is championship for sure. I mean, that's how you can get. And then lowest, I think still could be like 4th seed, 5th seed. if we don't make the trade and we keep Russ, things get a lot dicier, and it could be horrible. But I still think we can make the playoffs if we get him to buy into Darvin Ham's system. Maybe things go a little bit better, but I don't think it's a championship team.
Is Indiana still interested in Russ?
What would they
I've
have?
seen
What would they have?
rumors about Buddy Hield still.
Yeah,
Buddy-
still.
But it would have to be Russ. Whatever we trade, it would have to be
Yeah.
Russ. Or
I mean, the only thing people were interested in that like huge expiring contract, you know. So like teams that are willing to rebuild. So I mean, Spurs already got rid of their contracts.
It would probably be a 3-team deal. I don't think it's going to be a like straight up 2-team deal.
With Indiana.
Yeah, maybe with Indiana. I guess I don't know what they have on their team. Like, who would we get back?
Healed, and
Does Indiana has Healed?
yeah,
Oh, okay, that's where I didn't.
if the trade happens, the ceiling is championship. I think that's what we need to. I think that Kyrie makes us versatile in exactly the ways we need. We need at the very least he's a distraction on the court to get spacing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and off the court too.
Good distraction.
He's a big distraction.
He's a distraction either way. At worst, we're a playoff team, which is much better than we have. If we don't make the trade, it's gonna be a garbage fire. We're gonna end up trading Russ like halfway through the season. Just to a team so we're gonna get picks and a BS player with a bigger contract.
Actually, I think if we trade Russ away, we have to send picks with him. I don't think we get the
If we take on a terrible contract, we get the picks.
I'd rather just
So-
have his contract expire.
So that was what I was thinking. If things go real bad, we have to be able to just cut our losses and just say, like, you know what, this is the team. We can't take on any extra shit. Like, if this is it, we lost a year and then start rebuilding. I think that would be. I think we can't force it. I don't think we're gonna have to overpay to get rid of his contract. I think we just have to kind of die on Russ Island.
Like think about it this way: if we lose Braun, huge contract, right? He doesn't sign his extension. We lose Russ, so we get a lot of cash, right? We have a shit ton of cash if we don't make any bad moves. Then what? What do we do with all that cash? I'm thinking we would much rather want the picks, right? If we can trade Russ away, take on like a bad 2-year contract with a player that may not matter and a year that doesn't matter to us, and we get picks on a year that may give us good chances of getting a kid with good upside.
I guess we could look into who is free agent next year, but yeah, I think the smarter move would be get something for it if we can, just as long as we don't take on too much baggage that limits what we can do.
I think, if we get Kyrie, then we're championship. They have that ceiling. If we don't, I think the correct phrase that David was looking for is dumpster fire. It'll be bright as can be. I think to Paul's point, we're hamstrung by by Westbrook's contract, and so mid-season we realize this is not going to go our way. We're just going to die on our sword, and we'll see what next year looks like. There's not a lot of free agents out there other than Chris Middleton, Andrew Wiggins, and obviously LeBron James. So, I see a lot of with the current roster. I see a big repeat of last year. Maybe we'll sneak into the 7th seed. Does the 7th seed make us avoid the play-in tournament? No, we still have to play a game, right?
Yeah.
So 6, 7
18?
maybe. Yeah, I don't see a season going forward where AD doesn't get injured, where LeBron doesn't take load management, the games he cherry picks, right? I think last year he tried to measure himself and overdid it, did too many games, and then at that point it was too far gone. He felt like, hey, I'm putting in a towel. So
Wow, you guys are right. The next year free agents looks rough, pretty tough. Kristaps Porzingis is one of the top. He's the top 5 name on that on that list. Maybe what would be fucking weird and wild if we are so bad that we need to trade LeBron?
I've been saying it.
and get.
Hey, I've been saying it.
No one's
Hey, look,
no one's gonna take that trade. No one.
I think people will take the trade. Someone is gonna. It needs someone for the playoff.
His contract is expiring.
But it's for a win. It's for a win now. It's for a win now.
What would they
So-
give us? What would they give
Phoenix
us?
Suns- Phoenix Suns are desperate to get to the finals again. Pair him up with CP3. With the Suns give up Bucket for the opportunity for 1 year, maybe win a championship.
Like
I want Jason Tatum. I'll put that out there. I'll trade him.
Aiden.
Imagine the Celtics and Lakers doing a trade, blockbuster trade like that. Sign of the apocalypse.
We'll talk about Jason Tatum. Do we have some regrets for chasing Lonzo Ball? Do we blame
Absolutely.
Lonzo Ball's dad for not
No,
getting
blame
Jason
Magic.
Tatum?
Magic
Blame
was
Magic.
the one that made the decision. Magic Johnson said, "This is the point guard most like me, and he's gonna be the next point guard of the Lakers for the next 15 years."
I mean, it seems like kind of dumb in retrospect. Like, oh, I'm gonna go sign like the best point guard out of this draft, and also I'm gonna get LeBron, like in the same year. Like, there are other players that might have like fit better with him if you wanted them to keep both for a long time.
Yeah. I think where they fucked up with Lonzo. Lonzo has the talent, but he came in and he was already a diva.
Yeah,
He already had demands. His dad kind of bossed the shit. He kind of was like calling some of the shots, which is weird. Not letting his son develop. Like obviously your son's shooting motion is weird and fuck. I think Jason Tatum was like a baller already at Duke,
Mhm.
and we had and Lonzo had like that local home UCLA fan base or whatever that Magic and people were leaning into
Yeah.
that. Kind of screw.
He didn't even want to consider De'Aaron Fox because he loved Lonzo so much.
I wanted Fox. I
Yeah, I
really.
remember. He kept talking about Fox every day at lunch.
Oh
I
man,
want Fox. I want Fox.
that kid is still good. Like Fox.
He's not. But where is he now? Yeah, I think Jason Tatum was the only one that of that group.
At least Lonzo's a decent player now.
I still like Lonzo. He's nowhere near the projection that we thought he was gonna have. He's just a decent player, but yeah.
Hmm.
nowhere
Bulls
near
did give
what
him
we thought.
$80 million though. They paid our boy Caruso.
Don't say his name.
I will never forget
Oh.
Caruso.
Don't say his
Yeah.
name.
We will never forget.
He pissed off Roddy. He left.
We will. I'll never forget Caruso.
Man,
Caruso,
Good
man.
how bungled that.
Can we like talk about just for a beat about how the state of the Lakers and the attitude towards Caruso was so like indifferent that it made me sad that the front office would do him like that.
what do you mean indifferent?
Yeah.
They didn't offer him anything really.
They did. They gave him.
Caruso went back to them and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you match this?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "You weren't the droid we're looking for." And it's like, oh, he was.
Yeah, I think they fucked that up.
They fucked that up.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually let a lot of guys walk for like for nothing. Like,
A lot of guys that we developed,
yeah,
they let them walk.
you spent like the draft picks, the time, and they become better than the value that we put in, and
Yeah.
wouldn't even trade them. Like no sign and trade, no nothing.
Like Zubats was a high second round pick,
Yeah.
and he put in time and effort and money into Zubats, and he became a decent player. And as he became a really good, decent player, we gave him away to the Clippers.
Okay, that was a trade. To be fair, a shit trade.
It was for Mike Muscala.
It was
Mike
a- it-
Muscala can't even sell hot dogs at the arena, man.
I blame Magic.
Mike Muscala
Oh
is
my
one of the
God.
worst players I've seen.
That was tough, man. I think like we're still suffering from that move right there.
You can't give
Um,
away the homegrown too much.
No, like there's so many guys like Clarkson, Nance,
Well,
like these guys. These
Yeah,
are
we
guys
need-
that we
yeah.
drafted
They
late.
did.
We might have gotten some value. out of
Julius
it.
Randle. Come on.
the one good thing about trading Clarkson was if we didn't trade Clarkson to Cleveland, we wouldn't have had the space to sign LeBron.
I would love to sign any of those guys as free agents.
Yeah.
now.
No,
So,
they definitely drafted well and developed well.
So I'm glad we got Thomas Bryant back because I feel like when he is here, he showed some of that promise. He was just too young.
he's-
I mean,
Yeah.
he is coming off an injury. I think he tore something. I don't know if it was an
ACL.
ACL, but he had a big injury last year. He says he's 100% now. He moves fast. He's quick for a big guy. He's energetic. He can kind of body around the rim, and then he can also shoot. So,
all right, you should
uh,
you want to say a goodbye for the pod before I hit the stop button?
someone close us out.
We should go with the last point on your agenda here. Everyone's favorite player and first Laker memory.
Favorite Laker player and first Laker memory. I kind of feel like it's tied. It's not exactly the first memory, but my favorite Laker player was Eddie Jones. And then the first memory that I can think of was when we traded Eddie Jones. And I was heartbroken. I was so sad. But we got Shaq and it was all good. But at that time that was like that hurt. But Eddie Jones was so much fun to watch.
Very nice.
My earliest Laker memory was my uncle buying me a Vlade Divac jersey. and
Love it.
and I was so excited. I'm like, yeah, I have this jersey. And then finding out, I'm like, we traded him?
Why are all of our stories have trade?
We traded him? I'm like, oh, this better be a good trade.
Hey, it was a good trade.
It was a good trade.
That was pretty
My favorite player, obviously Kobe. Rest in peace. Got a little Kobe patch on my hat here. I think my first Laker memory was like just coming home like during the week and plopping down and watching and hearing Chick Hearn call games in the middle of the week on KCAL. He's so pumped for it. It'll be like, oh, get my little like top ramen because Mexican over here with some quesadillas and just plopping down and watching the game. I remember shortly after that, because I think it was like during the 95-96 season where I started watching games as a kid. I was like 8 years old. And I remember when Kobe got drafted, having this distinct thought of being like, this player is going to be special. I mean, I was a kid. I had no idea, like no concept of basketball or whatnot. But I just remember seeing, him in the tan suit, draft or being introduced on the team, and I'm all like, "Oh, this is gonna be my favorite player."
Rahi?
This is my first favorite player was Nick Van Exel. I loved Van Exel, Eddie Jones, and Ceballos. But Van Exel, he was the first player that made me think basketball is just electric and so fun to watch. And I just loved watching him play. He was a second-round pick, so he had a lot of heart. He had a lot to prove. And I remember my first memory is they were playing at Boston, and I think it was a tied game where we were down 1 or 2. And with 1 second left, he hit a turnaround three-pointer at the buzzer at the old Boston Garden. And he just shut them up, and the whole team just jumped them, and it was a lot of fun. But my first live memory at a Laker game was when Magic Johnson came back in '96. I went to that first game where he did that fake on Sprewell, faked him out of his shoes. The whole forum just went bananas, like the roof was about to explode.
Right. Good pod.
Good pod, guys.